Hello everyone, how's it going, and welcome to today's Wild Rift video. We're going to be going back down to planet Earth for now and go back onto the live server. I still have more patch 4.4 content coming out. I've got the new arena mode content. I got fiddlesticks, also new minions that are going to be coming in patch 4.4 with a comparison. But before we get into the all the patch 4.4 content in the next few days, I wanted to try out the new reworked Janna. Now, I played a few rework games of Janna yesterday. I'll probably play more games of her on stream today, so if you want to check out my stream, link is down in the description. But I had a lot of fun with Janna's rework. I think some of her abilities are very interesting now, and they work very different, so you have to kind of adapt to her new playstyle, but she's still really fun to play. But if you enjoy the content, and if you're looking forward to all the future content for patch 4.4, make sure you leave the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Right, let's get into it. First up, before we get into the build, I want to talk about Janna in general. So her passive didn't really get too much of a change, just some few movement speed changes. That was pretty much it with the passive, nothing too crazy. Her first ability is quite interesting now because there's no charge up time and you don't need to reactivate your first ability. You now have 2 charges of your tornado and these charge over time. Now this makes it a little bit more difficult really to hit Janna's first ability, hit the knock up, because you kind of have to predict the enemy's movement whilst the first ability is charging up, because you can't time now when the tornado is going to knock up or when the tornado is going to go out and knock up enemy champions. So you do have to time it pretty well. Sometimes if you're kiting away from the champion, you have to actually aim the tornado towards where you're kiting, because the enemy champion is going to be already ahead of the tornado before you cast it anyway. So it's a little bit difficult to use Janna's tornado. Sometimes this could be really cool though, because the tornado is much faster now and is a lot harder to dodge when the tornado does come out. But it can be easily predictable as well. If the enemy does see a tornado, they count the timer and then they try and dodge away. So I think it's weaker for the laning phase. Again, you can't really time it and you can't really get a lot of damage off as well at the same time. But I think it's a lot stronger now when it comes to team fights, and also being able to knock up a champion twice is also going to be very important. Now, Janna's second ability is now pretty much a spammable movement speed buff, basically. Kind of turned into Karma's third ability in a way. Now, you can damage enemy champions and you can speed up allies as well at the same time. However, damaging enemy champions now doesn't slow enemy champions anymore. So the second ability, the slow, is completely removed, and that's why I don't have Imperial Mandate in my build anymore, which we'll talk in a little bit in the build section. But the second ability, you could basically spam whenever you want to, and your closest ally basically gets a whole bunch of movement speed, and you get a little bit of movement speed as well, so you can use it as you're walking out of base. So it's really nice if you try and roam around with maybe a mid laner or your jungler. You use your second ability to gain movement speed, and you can speed up everyone around the map if you really want to do that. So not as strong during the laning phase. Again, I think Janna is a lot weaker during the laning phase now. You can hit multiple champions with your second ability, which can be pretty good. But again, you can't slow, you can't proc Imperial Mandate anymore. So the item is not as strong, because your first ability and your ultimate can still proc it, but it's just not as good. Third ability now, see, the third ability I don't really like. They've completely removed the mechanic of knowing when to shield someone, or knowing who you're going to shield. There's no aiming on your third ability anymore. It's just whoever has the lowest percentage health is going to receive the shield. So even if someone has lower HP, like it might look like it because the bar is a lot smaller in HP, if there's someone nearby that has lower HP percentage, then they're gonna get the shield instead. It makes it really difficult to actually put shields on someone that you really want to, because your third ability still gives attack damage, so you want to try and keep it on your AD carry or your AD jungler, your AD top laner. But if your mid laner goes low, for example, you're going to be shielding them instead, and giving the AD over to them is not going to be that important. So I don't really like the changes they did to the third ability. It is a bit more spammable now, and obviously it's easier to aim, and you can easily aim on low health enemies. But I liked the aiming mechanic before, and I liked being able to prioritize maybe not saving someone, but giving someone an extra bit of AD. I think that's going to be, I think that's really important for Janna, but that's removed. And then you have Janna's ultimate. Now, Janna's ultimate, you can now move whilst the ultimate is channeling, which I think is absolutely huge. I mean, I really like Janna's ultimate. I really like the first ability, but I don't really like the second ability and the third ability. I think the ultimate feels insane now. Being able to use your ultimate and get the healing, and also being able to shield, use your first ability for knock up, and even your second ability to slow and speed up your allies, I think is absolutely insane. It makes Janna really, really strong. And you'll see later on in the gameplay how I feel about Janna's rework as I'm playing the game itself. That's a basic rundown on all the changes with the abilities. Now let's take a look at the build. I still like to go for Relic Shield. I did try Ancient Coin, you'll see in the gameplay today, but I didn't really feel the impact or the buff really for Ancient Coin. I still think Relic Shield is better. The extra HP you get is a lot more important to just keep Janna alive. Yes, you get a little bit less healing now when you're proccing Relic Shield, but also you can decide what you want to auto attack with Relic Shield. You know, auto attacking cannon minion, giving yourself more gold is, I think, a lot more important. You still want to go to for Boots Rush though. Now, with your third ability and your second ability being more spammable, there is a situation where Janna can run out of mana. I've gone into that case a few times in the gameplay with Janna, so I still like to go for Boots and mana. Obviously, you get a lot of ability power, which increases your damage and also your shielding. The mana regeneration, I think, is really, really big because you can use your abilities more often with the magic regeneration. The only thing is, like, Magic Pen doesn't really mean too much because you're not really doing a lot of damage. So I can see the Boost Lucidity, the CDR boots, also be another option, but you have to be very, very careful on your mana, and maybe you can't spam your second ability as much as what you want to with this build. Now, for the first item, we have the newly buffed Harmonic Echo. This item is absolutely incredible. Reducing this item by 200 gold and nearly doubling the health that you restore. The base health, remember, is... I don't know, it's absolutely insane. I have no idea what they were thinking with Harmonic Echo. I'll probably do a different video explaining Harmonic Echo in a little bit more detail, and probably the best champions and everything you can run with Harmonic Echo. But yeah, like I said, cheaper item now, gives you 75 ability power, 300 maximum health, 10 ability haste, which is awesome, and the Harmonic Echo passive. And you have to remember, this passive also stacks up whilst you're moving. So Janna is already fast, and you gain movement speed as well with your second ability. So moving and cost your abilities builds up harmony, and you get to 100 harmony stacks very, very quickly with Janna. And this means that your third ability basically becomes a heal and a shield at the same time. And you'll see during the gameplay how much you're able to heal up with Harmonic Echo now. I think it's absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, reducing the gold by 200 and doubling the healing value, I think everyone kind of predicted that this item might have been kind of good on some champions. There are also other champions, but I'll leave that for another video. Start for Flowing Water though, really, really good. And the great thing about this build now is that you have 2 max mana items, so you're not actually going to be running out of mana that quickly. Also, you have the Boots of Mana as well, which is going to help you out. But Start Flowing Water still really good. Ability power, max mana, sorry. Ability haste, all really nice. Shielding or healing an ally grants you both with ability haste and a little bit of AP. So still really, really good. And if you want to as well, you can go for Ardent Sensor. This is going to buff your allies quite a bit. Like I said, the only thing is now you can't prioritize who you're going to shield anymore. So you might be giving your attack speed to someone that you don't want to. You might be giving the AP to someone that you want to, or the ability haste to someone that you don't want to. So there is that side of it, but it's still a really strong item. I prefer to go for Start for Flowing Water because it gives Janna more stats herself. But Ardent Sensor still really give you and your allies attack speed and bonus on hit magic damage. And then for last item, you can just go for Death Cap. A lot of ability power that you're building, so increase your ability power by 40% is nice, and giving you 110 ability power is also going to be pretty good. Glacial Augment, I still think is going to be a great rune. This still works with your first ability, it still works with your ultimate. You still get the auto attack slow as well when you land an auto attack. So I still think Glacial Augment is going to be good. I think Airy could also be an option now, because obviously you're speeding up allies, you're shielding them quite a lot as well. So I think if you want to play a little bit more defensive, then you can go for the Airy shield as well. But Glacial Augment still going to work really, really well, especially with her Tornado now being really, really fast and maybe a little bit easier to hit if you time the Tornado correctly. For the runes, we're going to go for the Resolve Tree. For the first rune, I see loads of people run like Nullifying Orb on support. I have no idea why. People are really underrating Font of Life. Now, Font of Life can be a little bit unreliable if your enemy champion If your ally champion walks up and doesn't auto attack, basically, because you're not going to be able to get the healing. But you have to remember, if you auto attack yourself, you also get the healing. So I think a lot of people are underrating Font to Life. I don't think Nullifying Orb is that good at all, to be honest with you. And as a support, you don't really need that. I'd much rather get healing for my team and get healing to myself rather than getting a shield if I drop low on health. If I drop low on health as support, I'm dying anyway because I'm super squishy. So I have no idea why people go for Nullifying Orb, but hey, bone plating, this is going to help us survive against that combo damage. So any bruisers or assassins jumping on top of us are going to help us with that. And obviously revitalize, we got shielding with our third ability, healing with our ultimate, so that's going to be really important to try and amplify that up. And then for the secondary rune, Transcendence is going to be absolutely great. I think this is probably the best option that you can get out of all of this. Mana flow band can be an option if you feel like you're dropping low on mana, but Transcendence for the extra ability haste is going to be really nice. Again, your third ability could be more spammable now. Your second ability could be more spammable. Obviously, your charge up time is going to help out with that as well, which can allow you to use your first ability multiple times, which I think works great. And then for the summon spells, we have Flash and Ignite. You can swap this over for Heal if you want to play a bit more passive, but Ignite's for the more aggressive trades, trying to win the 1v1s if you want to. But Heal is also another great option. That's everything for the Janna rework. Like I said, really like it overall. There are some abilities that I don't really like in general, but I think overall it's a nice rework. Really cool update. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments. I'm going to take you all over to the gameplay now. Hopefully you enjoy it. And as always, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next wild video. Peace.